Hi, Scott here with 802 Outdoor Adventures. It's what? Well into January, probably a weekend. Let me check. It's January 8th, and I'm finally getting to the point where I can clean up my concentrates from last season. And I figured I'd do a video and we'll step you through this whole process. It is kind of complicated. Well, not really. I got a few toys, and you're probably gonna think as you watch this video, what in the crap is this guy doing with all this stuff? But you know what? If I can't have a little fun with it, then why do it? So the first thing we're gonna talk about is when I start with my cons here, what I do, and talk about why I do it a little bit. And I hope you sit back and enjoy this, and here we go. So the first thing I do when I get home and I bring my concentrates home is I put them in a little pan like this and dry them out. So I had this concentrate from, I don't know, at some point. So I just spread it out here for an example. I got my pellet stove going, so that's a good way to dry it out. In the summertime, I just put it in a pan and I leave it on my back deck and let the sun dry them out. It takes a little bit longer. Sometimes I just leave them down here, and over time they dry out. I'm in no hurry because I save all this stuff and process it during the winter. When I got up this morning, it was 7 degrees out. I don't feel like going outside. I'm gonna have to go out this afternoon and shovel the little bit of snow that came in yesterday, about 2 inches. But other than that, I'm gonna hang out down here where it's warm and go through this process. All right, the next thing we do is, once our concentrates are dry, I set up these two classifiers. This is an 8th inch, and I'm not sure what this is, 32nd or something. And I classify everything off. I'll go through real quick. This one, because the gold that this catches is really easy to see. Whatever's caught in here, I'll put off in a different bucket. I'll put off in a different bucket, and I will process that after I process the lighter material. Today we're just going to be dealing with the lighter material, just to make it easier to kind of show what's going on. So that's that part of it. On to the next step. So let's talk about this a little bit once it's dry. Typically this is full of black sand, and the worst part about black sand is it's heavy, and it's sometimes really difficult to separate it from your gold. Well, the best way that I've found to separate your black sand and get rid of it is using a magnet. So I purchased one of these plunge magnets. I call them plunge magnets, and you can see that they really do pick up a lot of black sand. But the problem with that is it's like grabbing a fistful of everything else with your black sand. So I found that when you transfer this off, you have to do it again and do it again, so it leaves behind. Sometimes this thing will pick up gold, and it definitely picks up the lighter material. So I don't use this. I use this in certain applications, and it is handy, but I don't use it as a rule to separate my gold. The other tool that I bought was a spin it off tool, and this thing works really well. And you can see the black sand dances, and it tends to leave everything else behind. Then you just release it like that. That's all well and good. I do like that. That also has its purpose, but that's not what we're gonna be using here. So let's go. I'm not gonna classify this. You don't need to see that. You know how to run classifiers. This dirt I'm putting it aside for something special that we'll go over later. So I'm going to leave the black sand in it, and I will end up sifting this out, but I'm not here to talk about what's going to go on later with that. Let's go to the next step of the process here. All right, the next step of this process is this rig right here. This is a dry electromagnetic separator sold by Coulter Young at Mining Magnets. And the other fancy contraption on top of that is an auto feed system. Now the reason why I'm not using that spin-off tool is this auto feed system right here. This allows me to dump a bunch of dirt in there, and I can go do something else while this thing does its magic. I run it really slow because it seems to work better that way. In here, the magnet spins. He runs this roly-poly system in there, and as the magnet spins, it drags over the magnetic material and dumps it off into one container while the non-magnetic material goes in the other. That, in my opinion, for a small guy like me, small-time gold getting guy, let's say, I don't want to say I'm a miner, I probably prospector, who doesn't have a dump truck load of material to run, this is the bomb right here. This thing drags over almost zero gold on this side. I've run this thing and run it and checked it and checked it and checked it, and I've found no gold in the black sand when I'm done. So that's how I remove all the black sand. Once you get the black sand out of the way, this stuff is really easy to process. So let's go on to the next step of the process. The next step of this whole process is this gold wheel. I just acquired this thing in the spring, and man, I love this thing. It chews through the material. Even if it does have some black sand in it, it is actually surprisingly a lot faster than I thought it would be. And you'll see as we go that I don't have it set up so it doesn't bring up any material. It will drop larger bits of material in with the gold, and that's kind of by design. I find it works a little bit better that way. I don't mind picking up some extra material with my gold because we're going to separate it in the next step. So let's go check out the next step. And you folks have seen the next step before, so it shouldn't be any surprise. The next step is the Miller gold table. So once I capture the gold from the gold wheel out of that little bucket that's hanging there, I bring that bucket over here, I dump it on this gold table, I use my little brush, and then I just brush the bigger pieces away from the gold. It gives me really clean gold in the end. And you're probably wondering where old Goldzilla comes in here. So once I process the material through the gold wheel, that leftover material is left in this bucket. And occasionally, depending on how much material I'm running, I just have to dump that off. I'll keep dumping this off into a pan. And the last step is running all that leftover material through Goldzilla. And then whatever's left in there, I'm just going to hand pan. So just to see if the gold wheel missed anything. This does miss a little gold if I don't have it set up right. And today I'm not going to fiddle around. It's set up from the last time I used it. I'm not going to fiddle around with it. I may adjust the water flow as we go, but whatever I get out of it, I get out of it. And whatever's left over, the gold cube will catch. I have started a small bucket of stuff that I've already processed as I set this whole thing up and have tested it so I don't have to fiddle with it while I'm filming. So this needs to be put through the gold cube, and then whatever's left over from the 2 buckets that I have, like I said, I'm not running that. But here's a large amount of what I have to process, and whatever I finish processing here as I film this video. So let's get started. We'll get set up and we'll start stepping through the process as I feed all these toys that I got, and we'll see what we end up in the end up with. Alright, so what I did was I ran a bucket of cons through the wheel, and then I ran a bucket of cons through the gold cube, and this is what I ran through the wheel. So we will take a quick minute and just get these get the dirt that's out of there. The one thing you got to watch on that wheel, if you are thinking about buying one of these, is it has a sock that goes around the pump that acts as a filter, and as you run, I try to make sure that my dirt doesn't have a lot of silt in it. But that being said, it does have a little bit of silt in it that makes the water muddy, and that filter does start to plug up, which affects the flow of the pump. So if you're not watching it, the pump water slows down and you get more and more material that makes it up the wheel into your little bucket, and I wasn't paying attention, and that's what happened. So I got quite a bit more material in my catch bucket than I normally do, but there's a couple of really nice pieces in that. I'm surprised that that I left those in there. Usually I pull those out, and there's some lead. There was some lead in the last batch that I processed too, when I was first showing you the quick version of this process. But anyway, I'll work on this. I'll show you what we get out of that first bucket, and then we'll dump the contents of the gold cube from the second bucket, and I also ran everything that has been processed through again, so we'll dump that in here also, and see what was in that. I already know, because of the water situation that I had going on with that wheel, that I lost some gold over the thing, and I did a real quick spot check of the material that thing washed out. That's not supposed to have gold in it. It has gold in it. So that being said, it has gold in it, but it usually doesn't have that much gold in it. That's my fault. So all right, let's see what this brings. I've got most of this cleaned up. I did put some in the sucker bottle, only because they were starting to roll off the table. I do run this really flat. Like, I'm thinking there's like 3/16 of an inch of pitch from end to end here, whatever that measures out to, 14 inches or whatever. So I'm running it really flat because those smaller, rounder pieces, I don't know if you can see that, will roll off of this table. And even if it's really flat, I've got the flow turned down as much as I can. The pump has a lever on it, so you can reduce the flow. But it's still, even with those more round pieces, needle pieces of gold or rounder pieces will roll right off of this thing. So I had a few pieces I had to block and actually snuff her up, but in the bigger ones are in here. I picked them out with a pair of tweezers. But I'll finish cleaning this up. I'm going to snuffer it up, and we'll get on to the next batch, and then we'll do a final weigh-in and be done with it. All right, this is from the excuse me. This is from the stuff that came off the gold wheel out the front. Like I said, that's my fault that there's that much in there. Man, my voice is going. Usually there's not that much, but I wasn't paying attention and I let it get away from me. That's a lot. Usually there's might be, you know, just like this little bit there. I mean, it does lose a little bit of gold out the front, but not that much. That's my fault. So I frigged that up. Seems to be the way it goes today. I tipped over one of my lights and broke it and had a fit. Good thing the camera wasn't on. So I got these little bits of lead here, and I just wanted to show you the contrast, and I'm not sure with this light that'll pick it up, but here is, well, you can really tell when I flip it over how much more shiny it is. That's gold covered in mercury. So if you're ever gold panning in Vermont, especially in like Buffalo Brook, probably not so much Broad Brook, but Buffalo Brook, you're probably going to run into some mercury covered gold. The best way to handle that is to either have a separate snuffer bottle or a separate vial that you can put it in, because that will contaminate your whole snuffer bottle if you put all your gold together with that. So you don't want to leave that in with the rest of your gold. Always separate it out. But I just wanted to show you that. I don't know if you can see the contrast between this dark gray colored lead with no shine, and this is real silvery shiny. Even on the smooth side. Come on, behave. It's still nice and shiny. So you'll run into it, no doubt. I will put it off in here. I don't know if the camera will focus on that. I can't see the viewfinder, it's way up, but that vial has a bunch of mercury covered gold in it. We'll just put it off into there and save it for later. At some point we'll have to deal with it. Well, I'll finish cleaning this up. I got one more batch to throw on here, and that was everything from, what was it? Everything from, I'm starting to second guess myself here. What did I run for the last batch? I think that was everything that I had already run through the gold wheel previously. So that's from another run that I did when I set everything up here. And I think I ran the cons from the gold cube back through, not all of them, just as much as I could just scoop up in there. I wanted to run them again. I don't know why I checked separate the lower deck on that gold cube, the bottom deck, and I haven't found a speck of gold. Everything was trapped in the top deck. So let me get this cleaned up. We'll move on, do the last batch, and then we'll get this stuff weighed up. Okay, I ended up finding another bucket over there of something. Not sure what it was, but I'm not going to run it today. This is my last little batch of gold, and this was what I got out. I'm sure it's from the last time I used the wheel, and you can see that I lost a fair amount over the edge, if that's all that bucket was, which I think that's what it was, unless I got things confused and that one that's over there is the one. But yeah, whatever. Apparently I didn't do that gold wheel justice today. I kind of struggled today with a few different things, so don't judge the capabilities of that wheel off my sad attempt here at putting out a video, because I've done a lot better with that thing and lost a lot less gold. We'll get this suckered up, and then we'll get stuff dried out, and we'll do a weigh up here. I got 3 other little vials over there that are from other times. I separated them out because I wanted to sort of keep them separate, so we're gonna have to weigh everything sort of separately, because I don't want to mix those. Those came from other streams, and I kind of want to keep that on record as to what I got and where I got it. So let me get this snuffered up, get it dry, get it on the scale, and we'll put a wrap on this video. Here we are. Here's the first little vial of gold from 2021. 1.72 grams. That's some nice chunky stuff in it. Okay, the next one is, ooh, come on. There we go. Cap didn't want to come off. 1.405. Number 3 isn't that much. 0.180. Okay, for the stuff we did today, I put a glove on because this thing is hot. 2.330. And that gives us a grand total of 5.635. That's pretty much what we did for the year. Not the greatest year, but we did a lot of metal detecting and other things, and we didn't gold pan every weekend like we did in years past, so I'll take it as a win, and that's it. I appreciate everybody watching, subscribing. Hope everybody has a excellent 2022, and I hope to see everybody out on the stream at some point. If you see me, stop and say hi. We'll catch you later. See you, bye.